Welcome to episode 5 of Stick to Sports. I'm Ben Diamond.
And I'm Brian Burrows. Today we take a look at NFL Week 8, the World Series, the NHL, and some early season NBA games.
Roll it. The Dallas Cowboys defeated the Los Angeles Rams 43-20 in a collective effort from both sides of the ball. The Dak Prescott-CeeDee Lamb connection was on point all game, as Lamb finished with 12 receptions and 158 receiving yards. The Cowboys defense also held Matt Stafford in check as he only completed 13 of his 22 passes for 162 yards, as well as an early pick six. Brian, this Rams team is only a couple of years removed from their Super Bowl victory over the Bengals. What do they need to do in order to get back to their winning ways?
Look, there is not one quick fix for this Rams team. They have a lot of problems. This team is nowhere near what it was back in 2021 when they won the Super Bowl. I would start with the running back problems on the offense. Obviously, Kyren Williams being injured right now doesn't help anything, but they also need just a good change of pace back for Kyren Williams. On the defense, they're missing a lot of pieces that they had back then. Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, both gone, both star players of that defense. When they won the Super Bowl, now it's a lot of backups around Aaron Donald, guys who are role players but not going to make the big impact. I don't really think they're going to win another Super Bowl with this regime, with Stafford under center. It's probably going to need new life, new blood there, and it's really, this Rams team is nowhere near what it was. And with the 49ers and Seahawks now being what they are, you're not going to win a Super Bowl like this.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, right now, they were relying heavily on Puka Nacua to start the season. They got Cooper Kupp back. And while they have split receptions pretty well, with Cooper Kupp, coming back into his usual role as a wide receiver one. But right now, in that game yesterday, the offense did not look as strong as it did back in the day as well. But as you said, the defense losing all those pieces certainly won't help. So Sean McVay is going to need to make some big decisions going forward, as well as the Rams brass, whether he should stay or not.
The Cincinnati Bengals went into Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara facing a 49ers team on a 2-game losing streak. The Bengals decided to keep that losing streak going with a 31-17 win. Joe Burrow threw for 283 yards and 3 touchdowns. They also ran for 134 yards, with Joe Mixon finding the end zone for the second time this season. The defense stepped up as well, picking off Brock Purdy twice and forcing a fumble. The Bengals improved to 4-3 this season as the 49ers fall to 5-3. Ben, are we starting to see the true 49ers, or is this just a rough stretch?
I think this is absolutely just a rough stretch. Every team goes through a stretch like this, and there's no surprise that a team even as good as the 49ers is going through it as well. We saw it with, the Chiefs yesterday as well. They lost to the Broncos, and that's not, the usual Chiefs. That's just a little rough game. People say Pat Mahomes not feeling very well. But going back to the Niners and the Bengals, it's just a rough stretch for the Niners. Right now, they're still 5-3. They're still right there in the NFC West race. And I think that Brock Purdy just needs some adversity. He needs some adversity because he needs to prove to the Niners, to the league, that as a 7th-round pick, as the Mr. Relevant, he can thrive through that adversity and still bring this 49ers team to the playoffs.
I'm going to agree with you slightly, but I do think they're having another more tough stretch of their schedule. They have the Jaguars, Eagles, Seahawks twice, and Ravens all in their next 7 weeks. It's really a hard stretch to their schedule. I do think they still make the playoffs. And also onto the Bengals side, they look really great. Now that Burrow's healthy, coming off that bye week especially, they look really, really good. The early season struggles were definitely just because Joe Burrow was hurt and they couldn't throw the ball and move as well in that pocket.
Yeah, I agree. They look much better now. The Philadelphia Eagles squeaked out a 38-31 win over the Washington Commanders on Sunday. A second-half surge of offense led by Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown helped the Eagles keep their lead in the NFC East intact. Hurts finished with 319 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, 2 of which landed in the hands of Brown. On the other side of the field, the Commanders' offense stayed on par with the Eagles, aside from one Sam Howell interception. Howell finished with 397 yards and 1 touchdown. Brian, the Eagles have played 2 close games with the Commanders this season. Do the Commanders know exactly what to do in order to attack this Eagles defense?
Apparently, Eric Bieniemy just has the Eagles' number. You saw it last year on the Chiefs, where they kept the game. They won versus the Eagles in the Super Bowl. No, they didn't win. No, they did win. Sorry. But Eric Bieniemy just knows how to attack this Eagles defense. I honestly think he should just get the job at this point in Washington. Fire Ron Rivera. His defense just isn't that good, and Bieniemy has proven, I think, at this point he deserves an NFL coaching job. Why not just promote him right there in Washington? Sam Howell also just knows how to attack the Eagles as well. Over almost 700 passing yards in just 2 games versus them. He's only thrown 1 pick in like 5 touchdowns, but of course they ran the ball in that first game a lot more, especially near the end zone. The Eagles again squeak out a win, but the offense is certainly carrying them over that defense. 4 of their 7 wins so far have been for 7 points or less.
Yeah, I was just going to say the Eagles defense has not played whatsoever to the expectations that were set on them in the preseason and even in the offseason as well. But the offense has been playing at an elite level so far this season, and you'd have to think, is it going to be sustainable for this Eagles team if they want to go far into the playoffs again this year to the Super Bowl? With Jalen Hurts, he is a little banged up with his knee, so he's not as mobile. So we'll have to see if the Eagles offense can keep up this pace to help the defense out.
The Seattle Seahawks continued their impressive season with a 24-20 win over the Cleveland Browns to improve to 5-2 this season and take the NFC West lead. Geno Smith threw for 253 yards and 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith-Njigba combining for 16 catches for 184 yards and both touchdowns. The defense intercepted P.J. Walker twice and sacked him 3 times. Ben, do the Seahawks have a shot at taking the division crown this year?
I mean, we were just talking about how the Niners have not been playing very great. It's a little bit of a rough stretch for them. So I think absolutely this Seahawks team has that ability, has the talent to be in the running for the top spot in the NFC West as we get right past the halfway point in the season. But they do have a gauntlet coming up very soon. These next about 6-7 weeks are a gauntlet for the Seahawks team. They face the Ravens, the Niners 2 times, the Cowboys, the Rams, and the Eagles. All really good teams that are really talented and that can win these games. So if the Eagles, or the Seahawks, I should say, are able to show grit, to able to show that they have the talent to beat these contending teams, they for sure can take the NFC West.
Yeah, I guess answer my own question, I don't also think they're going to win the division. I think the 49ers probably retake that lead. The Seahawks also always seem to deal with some sort of health problems along the way. I mean, DK Metcalf already missing 1 week this year. Wouldn't be surprised if he misses another 1 or 2. Tyler Lockett, smaller guy, definitely can be injured. But Pete Carroll teams always fight hard, so there's definitely a shot this team wins that division.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the World Series, the NBA, and the NHL here on WTOP 10.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
We're here for you, we're here for you. This is your channel 2. With sports and news and what to do, we're here for you. It's your TV, you're watching WTOP. Your TV, thanks for watching WTOP.
La 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 la.
Breathe.
La 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 la. La 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 la. Freeze.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. After winning Game 1 of the World Series 6-5, the Texas Rangers were ambushed by the Arizona Diamondbacks, losing Game 2 9-1. A poor showing on both sides of the ball. Now, With the series even at 2, what do the Rangers need to do in order to close out this series and win their first ever World Series title, Brian?
Well, their bats certainly need to come back to life. You really just 4-hit game, not going to cut it in any World Series ever. A rough game here or there, but 2 back-to-back games with 10 strikeouts also need to turn that around. You really just can't be striking out 10 times. It's at least 1 per batter in the order. Pitching has been good for them, but the starters seem hurting to struggle. But in this game, we saw Max Scherzer go good 3 innings for being leaving, and then John Gray, another good 3 innings from him. Projected bullpen game in Game 4 as well for the Diamondbacks. They definitely have to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, this Rangers team today, they put up 3 runs, and right now, on top of the 9th inning, going to the bottom, obviously, they're in Arizona, so they still have that bottom half. This team, they're going to win, but their offense wasn't quite there in this game. In these last 2 games, they're going to need to get it going. Obviously, the pitching is able to help them in this one, but that might not be the case in the next few games, so we'll see what the Rangers can do going forward.
The Arizona Diamondbacks have scored 5 runs and 9 runs in the first 2 games of the World Series, respectively. They had 8 hits in Game 1 and 16 in Game 2. They scored 5 runs on Nathan Eovaldi in Game 1 and knocked him out after 4 2/3 innings, the first time in 5 starts he didn't go at least 6 innings this postseason. Ben, can the Rangers pitching staff slow down these hot bats?
I think it's pretty clear. These bats are not invincible. I think it's clear today. Obviously, only scoring 1 run so far. They still have the bottom of the 9th, but they have 1 run through the first 8 in Game 3. But because they're able to string together hits, because they're not swinging for the fences, their ability to get on base changes momentum better than most teams in the MLB. But a collective effort from Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte is going to be absolutely huge for them the rest of the series.
Yeah, I mean, this lineup, though, is so deep. 1 to 9, really, there's no breaks for any pitchers. I mean, today, Geraldo Perdomo, the 9-hitter, with that 1 solo RBI. They have 7 players this postseason hitting over 250, 5 players this postseason with an OPS over 800. It's so hard to find gaps in this lineup. And, I mean, even players like Tommy Pham giving up at bats in that blowout win to bench players just so they have time to get game time.
The Sacramento Kings have gotten off to a 2-1 start this season after defeating the Los Angeles Lakers 132-127 in overtime. The Kings were led by a masterclass from De'Aaron Fox, who scored 37 points and collected 8 assists. After making it into the postseason for the first time in 16 years last year, do you think the Kings will have a chance to do it again this year?
I'm not 100% sure they're going to be as good as last year. De'Aaron Fox, really good player. Unfortunately, just today it came out that he is a moderate ankle sprain. He's going to miss some time. He really is the driver of that entire offense. Just such a fast player, such a shifty, really good scorer. They don't have a lot of stars around him. Domantas Sabonis is a really good player, but besides that, just real role players. So they're going to need them to fill in those shoes of missing Fox for the next at least couple games, maybe a week or 2, to really and get some wins without him.
I think that they really can, if I'm being honest. They have a lot of depth. I think they have more depth than 90% of the league. Domantas Sabonis, Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, just to name a few. And this year, it's a pretty weakish Western Conference. You have the top teams that are going to make the playoffs, and then there are a lot of them that you think will not. I think the Kings can slide in the 7th seed, and I think they'll just be just fine this year.
The Atlanta Hawks went up to Milwaukee to face the Bucks and walked out with a 127-110 win. Damian Lillard highlighted a rough shooting night for the Bucks, going 2 of 12 from the field and 2 of 8 from deep. The Bucks shot just 16 of 44 from beyond the arc in the game. Ben, can the Bucks survive more nights like this from Dame, or do they need to find more depth?
I think that they could survive some games during the regular season with Dame having an off night. I think that's going to happen. They do have Giannis still, so they have their premier guy that they just gave a huge contract to. But if it comes to the playoffs, these are games you cannot see from a guy like Damian Lillard, and I don't think we will. I think it's still early season, so I don't think we'll see many games like this from Damian Lillard.
Yeah, and the Bucks were missing Chris Middleton in this one, who's like essentially their tertiary scorer now. He is an excellent spot-up shooter, so that definitely doesn't help anything. But their whole starting lineup in that game was 8 of 27 from 3. You just can't win games being that inefficient from beyond the arc. The Hawks had all their starters were over 10 points in this one, and they always play the Bucks close. In the last 2 years, the 3 losses to them, all of them within 10 points.
Moving over to the NHL, although the start to the season hasn't gone as well as the Sabres could have hoped, they did manage to defeat the Colorado Avalanche 4-0, a team who started the season white hot. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen recorded his first shutout of the season and of his career. An impressive win all around for the Sabres, Brian. Do you think this is a turning point for them?
Not quite. I think they're 4-5 so far, and it's been very up and down. They yet to have a back-to-back wins. I don't want to call this a turning point just because they have beaten some good teams already. You got the Islanders, the Lightning under their belts with wins. They need to start stringing victories together if they really want to get some momentum and find ways to get deeper into this season, get more points. They have Flyers tomorrow, which should help getting maybe a small winning streak going, and they're definitely going to use backline forwards Kyle Okposo and Olofsson to start producing where they have just both of them no goals yet.
Yeah, I agree. It's super early, but a convincing win against a team that's looked like an early Stanley Cup favorite, that's really impressive. And, Thompson, Skinner, Middlestat, Power, and Tuck all being on the scorecard in the game, that's something that Sabres fans love to see and hope to see more of the rest of the season.
The Boston Bruins improved to 7-0-1 this season with a 4-2 win over the Detroit Red Wings on Saturday night. They are yet to get a regulation loss this season after setting the NHL record for points and wins last season. They seem on pace to repeat as President's Cup trophy winners again. Ben, can anybody stop this Bruins team?
I mean, Brian, we saw this last year. I mean, anyone can go down to any team, and I think the Bruins know that all too well. But this team lost Patrice Bergeron in the offseason to retirement. That's a huge loss, a veteran guy who's been an absolute staple for this Bruins team for years. But it looks like they haven't missed a beat, and I think that's what's most impressive is just their tandem of veteran guys that have been with the team for a while, that were with Bergeron, but also the young guys that have come in and kind of taken up the mantle and continue just a great run for this Bruins team.
Yeah, look, realistically, this pace isn't sustainable. They've also had a pretty light schedule so far, but the momentum's definitely going to help them push forward and maybe repeat the President's Cup. And you mentioned the loss of Bergeron, but Pasternak, 8 goals in 8 games and 5 assists so far, kind of filling that spot that he already kind of had. He's just stepping into a bigger light. But we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, Ben will be joined by one of our producers, Alex Brooks, here on WTOP 10.
Jill told me it was Kitty from Glee. Yeah, what is it?
Al Roker.
We're here for you, we're here for you. This is your channel 2. With sports and news and what to do, we're here for you. It's your TV, you're watching WTOP. Your TV, thanks for watching WTOP.
What's going on?
Yeah, dude, we go on at like 11:30. It's like
No.
What do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Yeah, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow. Get a close up of that one.
Matthew, news.
Look at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. Joining me now is Alex Brooks, one of our producers. Alex, what do you have for me tonight?
Thanks, Ben. Let's start on the gridiron, as through 8 weeks of the NFL season, the offensive standouts have come from 2 of the best teams in the Miami Dolphins and the Philadelphia Eagles. A.J. Brown and Tyreek Hill are continuing to make noise this season, with showing up in a big way each week for their respected squads. I propose the question to you, Ben. When it's all said and done this season, who is the wide receiver 1 in the NFL?
Ultimately and personally, I believe that it's going to be Tyreek Hill when it's all said and done. I think the fact, and it has to do with both his stats right now, also I feel like he makes Tua a better quarterback just by being on the field. And you see his stats, already over 1,000 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. Any of the more yards per game. I know A.J. Brown, he's always, I see his stat line every week, he's going off. But Tyreek Hill, he just makes Tua better. Tua's looked the best he has in his entire career. And I think that's all a credit to Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ben, but also you got to look at A.J. Brown as well. I mean, I feel like both of these wide receivers are making their quarterbacks well. You mentioned Tyreek Hill. A.J. Brown, when he came to town, Eagles went to the Super Bowl. But I would say Tyreek Hill is 1A and A.J. Brown is 1B right here. So I'm just going to take Tyreek Hill on this one. I think he'll have more yards per game, but I think A.J. Brown will probably put up more touchdowns.
I got to respect that.
Yeah. With the NFL trade deadline less than 24 hours away, the rumors are swirling all across social media. Teams have until tomorrow on Halloween at 4 p.m. to make their midseason moves to help their team. Ben, with multiple teams buying and selling, what is one move that needs to be done tomorrow at no exception?
I think, personally, as a Dallas fan, I need to go and look at Dallas and their glaring deficits right now. I think they need to go out and get O-line and defensive help. And I'm starting with Chicago's Jalen Johnson in the secondary, perfect to help with not only just their depth, but also just another guy that can go out there and just lock down top receivers, as we were just talking about, Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown. Also, O-line help from Garrett Bowles from Denver, and Jeremy Chin from Carolina, a linebacker who right now the Cowboys linebacker room is really thin due to the Leighton Vander Esch injury. So I think those are 3 moves that they can make that could really help them out a lot.
Yeah, I feel like the move that really needs to be made is from Minnesota. They just lost Kirk Cousins to an Achilles injury. They need to get a quarterback. Their offense is really humming. They had Kirk Cousins. They need someone to step in and have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison on both sides to help them out and make a playoff push. Trade rumors are not only happening in the NFL, but on the diamond, as Juan Soto is rumored to be one of the highly coveted players in the MLB offseason. Teams like the Yankees and the Cubs have been rumored to make a move for him, with Bob Melvin no longer manager of the Friars. Ben, what team do you believe should dip their feet in the Soto sweepstakes?
I'm going to go with the Yankees. I think that's the easy pick. You go with the Yankees. Left-handed power bat in Yankee Stadium is something that fans could only dream of, but we have seen over the last few years the recent track record of trades not looking very good. So guys that you think will be good, Joey Gallo, left-handed power bat in Yankee Stadium, think would be great, didn't work out. Obviously, Juan Soto is a very different player from Joey Gallo, but with the recent track record of trades and the fact that it could take a lot from the minor leagues as well as out of the pocket of the Yankees to make other deals, I think it might work, but also might not. I believe the Cubs might also be interested as well, especially if they lose out on Cody Bellinger in the offseason.
Yeah, Ben, I know we're both Yankee fans, so we would love to see Soto in the Bronx, but I'm going to go with the Cubs on this one because they're a young team, and pairing Bellinger and Soto, that's going to make them very lethal. And I feel like the Yankees just spend too much money on older guys. They need to get younger.
We're going to take a quick break here on Stick to Sports. Thanks once again to Alex for the fast break. And when we come back, Brian, Alex, and I will head into extra innings. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Stick to Sports on WTOP 10.
Hey there, I'm Al Roker, class of 76. Yes, way back in 76. Back when the earth was cooling. You're watching WTOP.
The Kinda Late Show with Chloe and Anna. Like licorice, Twizzlers, absolutely nasty.
The thought of turkey is just nauseating.
I think you're wrong, is what I think.
You think I'm wrong a lot of time.
I do think you're wrong a lot.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
I guess I have really been looking for love in this dating app. Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
Hello, welcome back to Stick to Sports. Now let's get ready for everyone's favorite game, another edition of Extra Innings. Guys, let's see how we did in the standings. I know you were struggling last week.
I think I'm still struggling.
Let's take a look. Oh, there it is. Brian, you
I'm
are
on
now
top.
at 500. You are on top. Ben, you are at 7 and 13, and I am at 9 and 11. So
Last place feels so not nice.
Got a nice 3-game lead on you right there.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go into our picks for this week, our best bets. We'll start off with the Kansas City Chiefs against the Dolphins in Germany. Brian, I'll have you start off.
Give me the Chiefs at -2.5. I don't know what it is. I know they're coming off a rough week. They have to travel now too, which isn't going to be easy. But I don't know. Something about the Chiefs' defense just tells me they're going to hold the Dolphins down. The Dolphins have had a tough time versus some better defenses. I think the Chiefs are one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Chiefs in a neutral game hosting in Germany. It's very interesting for both teams. But yeah, I think it's a revenge game for the Chiefs after that loss to the Broncos.
Yeah, they're definitely going to take it to the Dolphins. I feel like the Dolphins have a high-powered offense, but I feel like the Chiefs are going to take. So we're all for the Kansas City Chiefs on this one. All right, we'll go over to the second matchup. It's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles opening as 3-point favorites against the Dallas Cowboys. I know B and Ben already have our picks in, but I'll start with you, Ben.
Cowboys, go Brian.
Give me the Eagles. I think their offense is just rolling right now. Jalen Hurts playing really well. A.J. Brown is unstoppable, especially with no Trayvon Diggs. So Eagles -3 seems like the pick to me.
Yeah, there's no shot that I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles to improve to 8-1 against the Dallas
So I know I'm gaining a game on you guys in this one.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's go to the third matchup. The Cincinnati Bengals opening up as 3-point favorites against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. Brian, start us off.
Give me the Bengals at -3. I know I'm going all favorites here, but Joe Burrow is absolutely rolling. Jamar Chase playing so well, and T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, just like an unstoppable core. Joe Mixon played well last week as well.
Yeah, Brian, I also like the Bengals in this one, just for all the same reasons. Joe Burrow looks fantastic right now, and you can't really trust the Bills. They've looked so up and down these last few weeks, and it would hurt me to have a bad Bills game and pick them here. So go Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills on this one, actually, because I feel like they're going to get some revenge after the Bengals knocked them out last year. But we'll go to the fourth matchup. It's going to be number 5 Washington against number 24 USC. Ben, are you going to go with Caleb Williams on this
No,
one?
I'm going to go with Michael Penix and Washington. Penix has been absolutely balling this season, and Washington's looked fantastic. He's led them all the way to 8-0 now, and right now USC hasn't looked fantastic. I know they won by 1 this week, but not a fantastic showing from USC and Caleb Williams.
I'm going with Michael Penix and Washington as well. Caleb Williams looking some bit fallible now, so give me Washington.
Yeah, if Caleb Williams wants to be the number 1 pick, which we all think he's going to be. He's not going to win this game here. We're all going to be taking Washington on this fourth matchup. And we'll go over to the NBA. The Knicks are going to face off against the Cavaliers. Brian, I'll have you start off.
Give me the Knicks. No, sorry, give me the Cavaliers. I think they're just a better team. Donovan Mitchell is going to play lights out in this one.
The Knicks had a poor showing against the Pelicans in their last game, but I think they're going to bounce back and have a good offensive game.
I'm picking the Knicks on this one as 2.5 favorites.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be better with, I think Brunson and RJ are just going to be just a little better in this one. I think it's just an off night from everybody. But yeah, I think Knicks in this one. But that will do it for us here tonight on Stick to Sports. Be sure to tune in next week right here on WTOP 10.